I'm Nicole Alonso.
And I'm Oklahoma Ward. This is the actor, and I'm the director from Crawl or Die.
And you are watching The 13th Wolfman.
Hey everyone, on the 13th Wolfman. You know what? We've been having a lot of guests come back lately. We've had Jessica, we've had James, and now we have Nicole. Nicole Alonso from Crawl or Die. And this time she brings with her the director, Oklahoma. Welcome to Sit Down, you guys.
Hello.
Glad
Thank
to
you
be
for
here.
having me back.
Oh, I loved having you the first time. I still love this movie. Waiting for the big, the big Blu-ray to come out.
Yeah, we're excited. October 1st is the date that we've made a deal with a global company, and the good thing is that we'll now have streaming globally. We'll have the Blu-ray, we'll have director's cut, alternate endings, the behind-the-scenes documentary, tank action figures, posters, and all that kind of stuff. That'll all be on the site October 1st. It won't all be available on October 1st, but it'll be dripping out as we start. But the Blu-rays should be by October 1st, as well as some of the tank action figures. And
who doesn't want a tank action figure?
I mean, I'm telling you, it was crazy. That wasn't even on our radar for some reason, but we had so many people write in asking for a tank action figure. So, out of all the content to be made, that is turning into one of the most difficult for us because it's very costly unless you do a lot of research. And but we're excited. We have found somebody that's good, and one of the things is when people join, it's free to join. When they sign up, they get a weekly video, and we will actually show them content, like the 3 different drawings for the tank action figure. And we'll ask the members that have joined, we'll say, would you rather see this one? Like, one has the alien wrapped around her, one of hers in the tunnel, one of her standing with a gun. We'll say, which one would you rather see have made? And so that's how we're going to be interacting with the fans. As well as when we start the pre-production for the sequel, we're going to have a 24-hour live feed, and all the people that join and that are on that members list will get to see the 24-hour live feed. They'll get to see us writing the script and building the set and all that kind of stuff. So, and we're going to do one member that we can tell that really interacts social media with us and that's a huge fan. We're going to put in the movie for a couple of minutes. We're trying to work it to where they have a line. Not sure about the line, but we know that we'll be able to put them in the movie. They're going to get killed pretty quick, but hey, you get to be killed in the sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're excited.
That's cool. I personally, of the 3 that you offer, I want tank in the tunnel.
Oh, okay. Well, see, that's the type of thing that we need to know. Like, for instance, we've got 4 designs for the official new global Crawl or Die poster. And, we're going to put all those designs up and tell the fans, say, listen, vote here and let us know which one you'd rather see. And it's all going to be sold in bundles. Like if you rent the movie, you'll get one of the tank action key doll.
Right.
We have a keychain doll. We have a bobblehead. It's just a bunch of fun stuff. And so, and the real thing that we're excited about is that we get 95% of the profit, which is good for us being independent, because up until today, we've gotten 1.1% of all the sales around the world, which by the time it gets to us, it's not a lot. We're not griping about it. We're ecstatic that the sales agency and distributors made a lot of money and gotten the name out there. But per contract, we had written in that on October 1st, we would reserve the right to be able to sell off our website merchandising in the movie, and they agreed to that. So, so this would be the first opportunity for us to really start to make a little bit of money on it. So, we're excited.
Here's a thought for a future item on your website: a tank costume for Halloween.
That would be awesome. I agree. I mean, it's one of the things that I'll let Nicole talk a little bit about, but we've been dealing with studios and Hollywood producers, and that's been a 5 month negotiation. And
Wow.
but what they all want is to premiere the graphic novel and a new Tank Army doll and the costume at Comic-Con next year. And so we're excited about that. And the one thing that they said is what you just brought up. They were like, we're hoping, because when we had our movie premiere, they saw the pictures and we had like 3 or 4 people dressed up as Tank show up, and it was really cool.
Yeah,
I
I would like really geek out if people start dressing as Tank for Halloween and stuff. That'd be really cool.
Tank is a great character. I mean, it is a really, really great original character. It's not Ripley from Alien, it's Tank. And I mean, I saw on Twitter about a month ago that you guys premiered in England.
Yeah, that we keep. I mean, we keep getting blown away by horror fans. I'm not. I can't stress that enough. Like when Japan happened, we were stunned by the response. Okay, when UK happened, I mean, it sounds like we're boasting, but it really is. We were shocked when it premiered on the Horror Channel for 24 hours. Crawl or Die. There's 14.1 million UK Twitter followers, and for 24 hours once it premiered, our hashtag Crawl or Die was the #1 hashtag in all of UK. We beat out the Avengers that weekend. Like more people were talking about Crawl or Die than the Avengers, and most of it about Tank. And I mean, we were stunned when the company that tracks that wrote us that night and said, "Hey, did you guys know?" At that point, we were the #5, and we couldn't believe it. And then they sent us the graphics that we were #4. And by the end of the night, we were #1, and we stayed #1 for like 6 hours. And we were just stunned. Like when we realized that even on a $5 million budget movie out of Hollywood, they spend $15 million overseas in promotion, and
Yeah.
that they don't even consider that a large scale promotion. And we, on a budget of $0, and because of the fans online, beat out their average. Yeah, it was crazy. We were stunned. And of course, the next week is when the studio started calling us, multiple Hollywood producers, and all the negotiations started. That the UK is what did it.
I'm glad to hear. I remember watching, well, not watching, but when I was on Twitter at that point, I mean, you and Nicole were blowing up like crazy. I mean,
It was
about the
nuts.
whole. I even commented on a few of those things.
Yeah. No,
I think that's the first time that we got kicked out of our accounts because we tweeted too much, trying to keep up with everybody and respond. It like banned us from tweeting for a full hour because I guess you can't tweet over a certain amount of tweets in an hour. But
yeah,
Probably think of
it's,
it as spam.
yeah, it's one of those things. When we were talking to one group of producers, the first thing they said to us is how. First, they wanted to know who our PR company was, and we were like, well, "You're looking at it. It's Nicole and I and the online community." And then they wanted to know how we did it, and I really couldn't give them an answer except for Nicole and I made a promise to ourselves that although it's 24-hour work, because even if it's 3 in the morning, anybody that says anything to us, we try to respond. And we really put a lot of effort into that. And I think we've realized, because I have other friends who put out really good movies, and they just don't catch on social media. And when they come to us, we tell them, look, it's a lot of work, but it's very gratifying because it helps us out mentally and energy wise because we're talking to people who have connected with our movie. But two, it lets them know that we do find every single person that writes about us important because it is important to us. And I think that's the difference. I mean, I can't think of anything else besides the fact that I like the movie.
Yeah, it's just that, and the horror community is amazing. like I don't think there's any other genre that has fans like the horror community. So without them and the horror blogs and guys like you, I think we would not have had the success that we've had.
Oh yeah, we'd be lost.
Yeah.
We'd be
Yeah, but
lost.
see, that's the thing. I mean, as a fan, not just of horror, but of Crawl or Die, I feel. I mean, when I talk to you guys, I feel that love that you actually appreciate the input, whether you agree with it or not. You appreciate it. You know.
Yeah, it's funny. There was a. It's funny that you say that because, one thing when I started in this, I knew when I was making the movie. In fact, I didn't even remember this, but we were putting together the documentary, and I was looking at the footage, and one of the first conversations I had with the actors and the crew was, I said, "Look, I'm going to make a movie that's going to make people either love it or they are really going to hate it. There's not going to be a lot of people in between." I was like, because of the way I'm structuring the story, that I'm going to leave out typical backstories, and I'm just going to really zero in and slam people into this situation. And I'm only going to give them little tiny bits of information of what's going on, because for me, that's not what the story was about. The story was about you never giving up. And and I said, what that's going to do is, I said, I want everybody to understand what you're signing on for. There are going to be people that are used to a story structure. They've seen 100,000 movies. And when you do something that's a little different, it's going to upset them. And I said, but here's the deal. I don't want anybody arguing with the people. It's their right. That's fine. If anything, just thank them for watching and say, maybe you'll like the sequel better. Well, there was a guy a long time ago that, was just infuriated. Went on like a 20 tweet rant on how angry he was that there was no backstory on Tank and all this kind of stuff. And well, you know what? I didn't say anything, and I reached out to him and I said, "Look, man, sorry you didn't like the movie. I hope you like the sequel better. It's going to be a little more traditional, but I was like, but then again, it's not going to be a traditional movie." And just 8 months ago, it took him 8 months. He was like, "All right, man, I rewatched the movie, and you know what? It's a lot better than I thought it was. It was just my initial reaction." And I was like, man, and he's become a big supporter. And I'm like, I don't know. We have this weird, we're not like Buddhist or anything like that, but we just have this weird thing of like, instead of arguing with people or attacking people for the people that don't like the movie, we're just like, yeah, we understand. It's a different thing. And that kind of attitude, I think, actually works better on social media than somebody that just goes out there and starts ranting and raving.
So, Nicole, can we talk a little bit about the sequel?
Sure. Well,
I know you can't give anything away, but you could talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, I actually don't. He keeps a lot of stuff for me as far as the story and what's going to happen. I usually don't know much more than the audience until I get the script. So it's hard to sort of say exactly what's going to be happening. I don't know how much you'd want to share, but...
Well, I've told you some things.
Yeah, I know that the tunnel, there's going to be a lot of different tunnels this time. We're going to have vertical tunnels. There's going to be water in the tunnels. There's going to be tarantulas in the tunnels. And I know it's going to be crazy, like a lot crazier than last time, as far as the claustrophobic feeling and all that that's going to be carried through. You'll get to learn some more about Tank. There's some more backstory on Tank, and sort of you'll get to see where she's at after the experience of the first movie and mentally what that's done to her and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to jump in and dive more into Tank, because in the first movie, Tank was pretty internal as a character. Like, I had to internalize most of who she was and her feeling and try and push that through silent emotion, if that makes sense. And it'll be interesting to finally get to like dive into that more and show people more what she is verbally and who she is. So that I'm really excited.
I can share a couple of things. I can share that we're really opening up the world. That there's not a cheap trick reason why she ends up back in the tunnels. There's a specific reason and a needed reason for her to be back in that situation. I can tell you that the first set that we're going to be building, it's probably going to take us about 2 months because we're building actual ship inside the studio. A full on huge 45-foot long, 20-foot tall ship, because there's a good 15 minutes of the movie there's a lot of stuff that happens inside this ship. And so that'll be one of the first things that we build. And then we're actually going to use the live feed and take the camera through it before we start filming and all that kind of stuff. And then, I can tell you that one thing that 80% of the people that write us are we going to see the battle between Tank and one of the creatures? And I was like, absolutely. I mean, that's they're going to hit head on, and we're going to see what comes out. I can say this. I tell people. Well, I can tell this. I can say this.
Okay.
Huge fan of old John Wayne movies, and John Wayne didn't live in the end of his movies. That's what made those characters huge.
Some of them he lived, but yeah.
Some. But I can tell you that the way we're structuring it, the third movie, while it will have Tank in it, it's got a different version of Tank. So that's all I'm going to say, and I'll let people see.
No, that sounds good. I love John Wayne movies. Island in the Sky is probably one of my favorites. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's some classics. There's some bad ones, but there's some classics, but we got a lot of cool elements. I mean, we're really excited about it. And I even told the producers when we were in negotiations, we met with 5 different companies, and I was like, that's a great idea. And if I don't sign a deal with you, I'm stealing that idea. And they were like, fine. So what's great is I had all these, and 2 of them were the top 5 studios in all of the world. And so these are very smart, savvy people. We just couldn't come to agreement on whether Tank kept her clothes on or not. And I wasn't going to budge on that. And so what's great is I got to take these pieces. I was like, oh, that's a great idea. I hadn't thought about that. And I wrote that down. I was like, that's a great idea. And their idea is the same idea we had, which is expanding the universe, kind of making a mythology behind it and expanding it and having Tank at the forefront. Because they all agree with exactly what you said, which is a huge compliment to you. I mean, you're right on par with them, which is Tank is a character. They were like, she's noticeable on sight. She's got a cool one name that people can easily identify with, and she's real. She's not a superhero. She's real. And they were like, very relatable character. And so we're just taking that and running with it.
Here's the thing, and I got no problem with nudity, right? I don't mind naked women, but you can't have Tank take her clothes off.
No, because it's not who Tank is, and
she is dead sexy dressed. I mean, there's nothing else to see. You know, it's like you're selling Tank the badass, not Tank the pinup.
Right. And while I'm with you, I can watch any type of movie. I mean, I can watch all the way from the Marlon Brando extreme sexual movie to, I think we watched what was that, Nymphomaniac Volume 1 and 2, to I can watch movies. Cheap B movies, cheap horror movies, slasher movies. We love them all. And what I kept saying to them is, look, I have no problem with nudity, male, female, whatever. I don't care. I was like, but that's not Tank. I was like, that's not what she is. That's not why we have over 150 emails from women in Japan. We're getting a ton of emails from women in the UK. We're getting a lot of emails from women who are illegally watching it in like Germany and stuff like that. But still, we take something from it, because these are places that I'm not bagging on any other country, but women may not have uh, the same, what am I saying? The same admiration or taken seriously. And in those countries, Tank is their hero. Like they're
Tank
going,
is a strong female character to look up to. You
yeah,
take off her clothes, she's just a pinup.
right, right, right. And yeah, you and I, you could have been sitting in the meeting with me. I mean, it was, but you know,
Sometimes I wish I could have been Tank in those meetings because I think she'd have just walked up and slapped them straight across the face and been like, "You take your fucking clothes off."
There you go.
but look, we're not bagging on. Look, I got to tell you, it's one thing that we learned, you know, in the independent film world. Sometimes a lot of independent supporters, you know, they love to crap on Hollywood and all that. But I got to tell you, everybody that we met was extremely smart, and they were actually pretty passionate about trying to make the best movie possible. The problem that they were running into, which, you know, they're trying to protect their millions of dollars. They're trying to make sure that they can sell it to every territory and make sure that they get their money back because they're investing millions of dollars. So we understood it, and we were like, but if you can't meet our terms, then we're just gonna have to do it on our own. And I understand. And we're still in talks with 2 or 3 of them. So
Okay. I was going to ask that.
Yeah, we'll know probably in the next 90 days, I would say. We just spoke with 2 producers yesterday.
But I mean, I think the good thing is that even if we don't sign with one of them, we are moving forward on our own either way, and so pre-production will start later this year. I mean,
yeah.
The other nice thing is that even if you don't sign with any of them, they know who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're not Ridley Scott, but they know who we are. They're watching us. And
we've had a couple say that if we came back to them with the finished movie, they would buy it.
They'd buy it immediately. So, you know, if it'll take us a little longer to do it on our own because, you know, we have jobs, we have to save up the money, and then we build a little bit of the set here and there. We're hoping that the merchandising will help fund it a little bit. And but the best part of it is we're in control of it then. You know, we get to make the movie we want to make. And we don't have 20 people standing over us going, well, you know, you can't change that line. And you're like, it's our movie. We're going to change the line. But, you know, it is what it is. It's going to be an exciting next 90 days. A lot's going to become clear.
So just so the people that are watching know this, you refer to your areas as, you know, you got a studio.
Yeah.
But the studio really was like, it started out as if I remember right, you said it was a barn?
Yeah, no, we built a pole barn is what we did.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, out in the middle of nowhere. Like if I turned this camera around and shot it out the window in front of us, you'd see nothing but trees. Like we're in the backwoods. We say during a zombie apocalypse, we'd be pretty safe. There's only one window and it's about 50 feet off the ground. Out back here, if you were to look out these fake windows and this fake wall, you'd see the studio all down below. It's basically just a garage. It's got a garage door, but it's just huge. And
but yeah, that's what I was getting at, you know. So I mean, you guys you technically have your own studio, and it really is, but it's just it's as close to DIY as you could get.
It's all deep. I mean, we do the set building, we do the filming, the editing, the sound. I mean, that's what they kept saying. It was ironic because they kept saying, well, who did your editing? Who did this? We're going, it's us. So they're like, so you're like a little studio. I'm like, yeah, we're the tiniest little handmade studio on the planet out in Midwest America. So, you know.
I think that's great, though. I think it's great that you have like your own area where if you want to build a set, you know, you build a set and you want to put on, you know, it just reminds me of the old Mickey Rooney, Judy Garland thing, you know, let's put on a show.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly what it's like. I mean, look, it was crazy. You know, the beginning scene of the movie when all the soldiers are running through. We kept laughing that if you had a satellite camera zoomed in, what you would have seen is this big black forest in the middle of nowhere with all these flashlights and people running around with guns and screaming and yelling. And then we had the big fire scene, you know, at the end of the movie. Well, that we did that out back in the property in the woods, and you know, nobody bothered us. I mean, it
It's
in one
great.
sense, it's really great. Uh, Even one of the producers that we were talking about, they were wanting us to film the sequel
Columbia.
in Colombia, and I said, "Look, you're not gonna out here. It's cheaper than Colombia." And they were like, "No, I don't think so." I'm like, "I'm telling you, I promise you." So they rattled off some numbers, and I'm like, "Yep, see, I can beat that by 70%." Because we were out in the middle of nowhere. Like, you can build a building out here for 20,000, like a warehouse. And they were like, "Oh, okay." So it's got its advantage. Disadvantages: internet cuts out every once in a while. We can go weeks without seeing another human being.
The closest store is like 30 minutes away, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but on the flip side, you know, you just do what you want, you know?
Yeah.
If they do come out there and build a warehouse, you just say, "There's my land, put it there, and when you guys leave, leave it."
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. We had one studio that they wanted us to film part 2 and 3 back to back because they were like, "If we just go in and build the whole set for both movies, can we leave it there?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course, sure." And so, you know, I mean, it's crazy. It's a sacrifice. We do enjoy being around other human beings. We miss that sometimes. But we have cats. We have
Yeah.
a bunch of cats. So,
I was thinking that.
and the set, we'll have friends come over and we'll play hide and seek in all the sets, and yeah, it's crazy. We have a good time.
Man, I could talk to you all night. I honestly, but we have to wrap it up so we could set up for the live show. And
Okay.
but I want to thank you guys for coming on. This was great. I heard a lot of great stuff. I'm looking forward to the Blu-ray coming out. Looking forward to seeing the second movie. You know, where can people find you?
Just visit crawlerdietrilogy.com and everything will link from there. So super easy.
Yeah.
All the
But
social sites from there.
All
Yeah.
the discount codes and everything, like we'll come up with a Dorkening discount code that if people come from you all and enter the Dorkening code, they'll get like 15% off. And you know, and the one thing I would ask is that if you guys know of anybody who hasn't seen the movie, if they rent it from us or buy it from us, like I said, we get 90% plus of the profit. So it really is supporting us versus
Right.
supporting Hulu and all that kind of stuff.
Always support the indie horror.
It truly does help us keep moving forward. And thank you guys so much.
Oh, we love having you on. I mean, you're fun people to talk to. It's a great time, and you made one of my favorite indie movies. So,
Well, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
with that, I'm the 13th Wolfman, Nicole, Oklahoma, and we're on the prowl.